In our 20s, we should meet people, go on dates.
Aren't you worried about moving too fast?
Catch me if you can.
It's an emergency. I'm so sorry. I'll call you.
It's super cool.
You're a crime-fighting, lady-slaying machine.
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick, The Flash, Season 1, Episode 12, Crazy for You. I kept wanting to call it Who's That Girl or La Isla Bonita. Alonso, Bibbs, and Francis. Okay, first of all, everyone knows that the first line of Summer Lovin' is sung by the guy.
Yeah. Everyone knows that.
Which they clearly set up just so they could have that moment of reveal of, oh, you can sing.
Yeah, that's what. Is there anything
This is what we're complaining about?
Is there anything
I just wanted to, I knew we were all thinking about it. I just wanted to get it on the table early.
What I was thinking about was that, so you're going to do karaoke. You're going to do the most obvious karaoke song ever. There is no bigger karaoke cliche.
For duets, yes.
Especially for duets.
Yeah.
But honestly, just in general, I think even that wins. And I'm like, you're the Flash. We couldn't have done like a Do Run Run or Flash Gordon or Jumpin' Jack Flash or anything by Rush would have been kind of funny.
Been around the world and
Yeah, it would have been great. There's so many ways you could have gone. But yeah, that was cute.
I thought it was really funny.
It was a cute little bit.
It makes me wonder if Grant Gustin has I do get to sing sometime this season in my contract.
It's on his resume, can also sing.
Well,
it's
he was on Glee. He was a warbler,
No, I know. I guess that's my point, though. It's like when Joss Whedon decided, screw it, we're going to spend every episode of Angel at a karaoke club. Why? Because they can do it, and why not? We'll make a karaoke demon. Yeah, that all makes sense. Yeah.
So I like that we are finally breaking out of the villain of the week mold a little bit by turning Pied Piper clearly into what's going to be a recurring, pain in the ass for these guys.
Yeah, and I thought that could have still had a good enough storyline to carry on, but then we are introduced to Peekaboo, who I didn't even see that as much of a villain. I don't think any villain should be considered a metahuman if you can beat her by turning the lights off.
Right.
I mean, I just thought she was a little easily beat.
She still has some, mad skills.
She does have some mad skills.
If you were fighting her during the day and outside, she's basically unstoppable. I don't know. My whole thing was like, we had to figure out how to get her into a darkened room. Get a flash bulb. Like seriously, just blind her temporarily, and then just sort of tap her on the shoulder, pow, done.
I was thinking this. Now, would her power extend to say, like, if I'm Skyping with Paris and I can see the apartment in Paris, can you go that far?
Yeah,
that's a good question. I think the issue is that because remember this was a thing.
Is she going to sneak up behind Richard Engel on the NBC News?
This was a thing with Nightcrawler in the old X-Men comics, where he can teleport anywhere, but he doesn't necessarily know he's not going to teleport into a solid object and die.
Right.
So I don't know if it's the issue that she can't, or it's just it would be extremely ill-advised.
Yeah, because that's always a problem with these people that have got these superpowers. Suddenly they teleport. They're just in this nice room somewhere. You never know, they could just be in the middle of the road and a big truck's coming right towards them.
Or in the middle of a marble column.
I miss Jumper. I'm just going to say that right now. I thought Jumper was kind of neat. I don't know, maybe it was just me.
That movie?
I said it in the last episode, I felt that when me and Bibbs reviewed it, I thought that Cisco was going to let the Pied Piper out. You could see him airing towards that. But then we're given this new side to Cisco, and I mentioned this to Bibbs before. Is he going to be Vibe? Because he's given this.
That good?
Yeah, I feel as if it's piecing together.
If Cisco were going to turn into any hero, he would totally turn into Vibe. The dorky, pointless
racist.
Vibe. Why?
No, I'm kidding.
I think it's going to happen. I just think
he be Mexa Blue Beetle or whatever?
Yeah, he's shown these tendencies that, like, suddenly he just turns to be a really good fighter, and he's got these mad skills. It wasn't just like a street fight. He just seemed to have something.
The thing is, I think actually both he and Pied Piper are kind of crappy fighters, but they're equivalently crappy fighters.
Matched.
So they're sort of like if you were playing, what is that, DC Click thing? Like they would be at the equal level.
They both have like a 2 on the scale. I don't know. I lost some respect for Cisco's intelligence. I'm not saying the intelligence of everyone at Star Labs, not because they let the Pied Piper out, but because they didn't notice a giant pitch black bomb shadow of a guy right next to their door. It wasn't like off in a corner where maybe they wouldn't have noticed it. It's literally walk down the stairs and look forward. Yeah. You never noticed that? That's weird.
And Cisco would totally know what that was because he would have read Watchmen.
There you go.
So I didn't buy that.
Or he'd seen Iron Man 3.
Exactly.
There you go. It would have worked totally fine.
And now the sports lady from the picture news, which that's been bugging the crap out of me.
Picture news.
Like, what was journalism periodical taken? They had to go with the picture news.
The writers only write captions, basically.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Anyway, but she marries Wally West in the comics, so she's actually got Flash history.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, there you go.
I had to look her up.
But as everyone knows in the field of love, is that if you have that interest who you pining after for years, as soon as you get yourself another interest, that interest will soon come back.
That's how it works on
what
TV.
They can't have. That's what happens on TV. So now, and I think with Dr. Snow as well, there's that romance potentially booming after she gave him that slight glance when she walked by. I sensed it at the start, so maybe is he going to now go from 0 to maybe a trifecta woman to choose from?
Here's the thing. Now he's going to, now it appears to all the world like she at least has a crush on him.
Yes.
And like she's looking at him like, I can move on from my husband. And then the next episode's a Firestorm episode, so we're going to get him back. It's going to be super awkward. How do you guys, I was feeling a little conflicted by like, okay, shows he's drunk, cute. He takes care of her. He doesn't peek, which I thought was very, very sweet. What kind of a hero would I be? But then she's like, it's okay to peek a little. I'm like, yes means yes, no.
There was a bit about this on Louis. I won't go into details. That was a little dodgy.
And she's allowed, but at the same time, Mary, don't do it. And that was a weird situation.
John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah.
I'm not always sure how they're using him on this show, because sometimes it feels like he's struggling with dialogue. I mean, he's an actor. He knows his stuff, and it's like I can't tell if it's the performance or what they've told him that the character is supposed to be like or something.
I don't know. Like, I wish you'd give me like a specific
example.
example.
There were a couple times where they would have these conversations, and it just felt like it was this effort to get the words out.
Well, wasn't it when he was like after he'd been beat up?
No, before getting beat up even. I don't know. There was just something odd going on there. I couldn't tell. Like, is this guy or is this?
I think
this is how I'm playing the character.
I don't know. I've seen him in other things before, and he hasn't necessarily given that performance. If I had to posit a guess, I would say like you're the father figure. You're this sort of voice of maybe not wisdom, but certainly guidance and everything. So like you need to have a certain level of portent to your voice, and portent can often mean like many halting dramatic pauses.
Yeah, I think he may be overplaying the gravitas hand here. I don't know.
I like to work with. So.
I like the idea when you're coming up to this sort of dramatic event, and when the Flash suddenly just gets rocked by the news that my dad's been stabbed, I expected him to be in a little bit more critical condition, because it went from he's just been stabbed, break, back, and he's sitting up in his bed, and he just seems to be fine. I was expecting something a little...
He didn't get stabbed too bad.
I mean, growing up in Scotland, when someone's stabbed, you know what it means when someone's stabbed.
I didn't grow up in Scotland, so no, I don't.
You need to grow up in Scotland.
I'll fix that next time.
He didn't get stabbed in the neck.
I know, but still, for me, it looked a little bit fine.
I would have thought that, if someone was going to shank you in prison, they would get the job done and not just like, look, I poked him in the butt. Like he learned his lesson,
This was a warning stab, you know.
But I have to say that I love the relationship between the Flash and his dad. When they're conversating together, I generally am like involved in it. I feel that there's a great connection between them both, and I believe that their relationship is real and that his father has got his best interests at heart. Now it's clear towards the end of it that he's sensing that his son is the Flash. And that was a great moment where if my son was the Flash, I would tell him this, and this. I thought it was great between both of them. So
I would like to add, I just thought it was a really nice dramatic beat when Caitlin Snow finally finds out that Cisco was the one who locked Ronnie in the thing. And there's a moment where she lets it sink in, but ultimately she realizes you did the right thing.
Yeah. And she lets him off the hook.
She lets him off the hook. And it was just like, it must have really sucked for you to be carrying around this guilt when, I probably would have been mad 6 months ago. But like now, you did the right thing. What are you going to do? Like, that was mature.
Yes.
Because you totally could have milked that for some really crappy conflict between them. This really forced, like, now they don't like each other. It's like, no, they're actually really close, and they handled that very, very nicely.
Yeah, and she's a scientist. She's logical. She gets it, you know.
No, I thought that was nice.
We must, of course, address the stinger of the episode, the finale, the last bit.
Yeah.
So,
the Grod part.
Yes.
So
why is there not more excitement here?
I'm excited about it. I think you just got a kind of sneak glimpse of it. I imagine the special effects, knowing the CW, it's going to look fantastic. But it's going to.
He looked okay in the shadows. We got a little bit.
Yeah. It'll be the robot monster version.
Yes.
No, I don't know.
We're probably going to get more use out of that Amy suit from Congo. No, I don't know. I didn't bring it up because I got really excited, and then I saw next week on The Flash, and it was all Firestorm. I'm like, no, Grod!
Well, it's a tease. They're letting us know it's coming.
Grod is the shit.
They've done it a few times.
It was interesting that they didn't have him speak. So on one, and obviously he was just beating the shit out of everybody, so he's clearly not total telepath Grod yet.
Right.
You know, like conqueror of Gorilla City Grod.
But he can write.
He can write.
Yes.
We're getting there. Like I think we might be
learned
like.
his name.
I wonder if we're gonna build to it, and he's just gonna be this like crazy ape who's like really intelligent,
Well-
and then he'll only like speak at the end when they put him in a cage, and we'll sort of gradually build to the Grod we all know and love to hate.
Yeah, I mean, I think given how much this show has been sort of focused on beings that were created by the collider explosion, whatever, I suspect, and also just given money and resources, we're not getting Gorilla City, which
You know what?
pains me. But you know,
Season 5,
it's a start.
When they've jumped the shark.
It's a start. If you have one intelligent gorilla, then the
Grod-
world is your
Grod
banana,
is gonna
you know?
gonna steal some like genetic so and so bloody blah
There we go.
and turn all of Central City into apes for one episode, and then like some of them aren't gonna get turned back, and they'll have to start a Gorilla City.
This episode dedicated to Julia Schwartz.
Are we just led to believe now that every metahuman has got their powers from the explosion? Because we never
Generally.
I never understood they never give us a background story about Peekaboo. That's maybe why I didn't feel that she was a bad enough villain, and I don't think she is bad. I think she was under the influence of her boyfriend, but they never told us where she
They mentioned it a little bit, you know, just like all of a sudden I could do this within like this recent period of time. I think it's implied.
It feels like all the metahuman activity dates back to that moment.
So that's what similar to Smallville, like the explosion.
Yeah.
So
It saves
should
them time.
Will we? Yeah, I was going to think it saves time, and that's why whenever they have a villain that comes up that's not been involved in this, I'm a little bit more interested. So say
Like
like
Captain Cold.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it works. I think it makes sense. I mean, again, Arrow takes place in the same universe, and there was a certain amount of like super soldier stuff going on in there, but it was all just wonder drugs.
And it's that or a lab explosion every week. And
Yeah,
exactly.
Nobody's got time for that.
You have to take the time to introduce every single character. It's sort of like the first season of Batman the animated series, which was great, but because you could do it because it was shorter. But like every time you introduced a villain, the whole episode had to be about the villain and their origin story and everything. And here we kind of want to focus on the Flash. We want to make it. Just get into the fun of it and not have to explain everything all the
Certainly
time.
not explain the toilets in the prison, but that's
Do they read?
That's our ongoing.
one of these
that's our
days
Do
we're
they
going to
read?
know the truth.
I never see them with a book or a chair. Like, oh my God, that must be
A paddle ball, something.
Seriously, you poor bastards.
Maybe they get to watch The Flash. We'll be doing it next week. Come back and join us.
In a flash.
Oh, stop doing that.